Hi everyone, welcome to Lab 6, and in this video I will be giving a brief overview into how we will pick back up where we left off with the memory experiments you all have designed in previous labs. So before you start this assignment, it's really important to make sure you're able to collect as much data as you can using that memory experiment you created for Lab 4. However, prior to running your study, it's also important that you make sure you receive approval from me. What I mean by that is by now you all should have received grades and comments on your memory task submissions. And if you were in a position in which there weren't any issues with your task, or there were some issues, we were able to resolve those edits and make changes as needed, then great, let's go ahead and collect data if you haven't already. However, if there are some things that I need you to fix, or there's some comments you have yet to address for your study, let's make sure that we resolve those issues such that you're able to collect data as quickly as possible and go on with the rest of this assignment. For the rest of the assignment, really what you'll be doing is making sure that you're walking through all these steps to complete your research report. In order to do that, some of the things that we're going to ask you to do include revisiting your introduction section that you did in Lab 3, such that you're revising things based on proofreading that you do, as well as any feedback you have received. You'll also want to make sure that you incorporate your annotated bibliography into this task as well, such that you're using the entries that are relevant for your project. You're also taking those references and converting them over into a references list that you would have for your write-up. The next section, we're going to ask you to write a method section that includes the appropriate subsections such that you have information on your participants, as well as the materials and the procedures. I do want to point out that there is a video on Canvas that walks you through in way more detail sort of the information you'd want to include in these subsections. So if you haven't watched that video already, I highly recommend that you do, as it'll be a useful resource in writing this particular part of your report. As for the statistical analysis, I do believe that a lot of the things we're asking you to do here should be pretty reminiscent of when we first did statistical analyses in this course. What I mean by that is some of the things you'll have to keep in mind are things you've done before, such as making sure that you are familiar with the format of the data, making sure that you know what the data in each of the columns means when you have your spreadsheets. You'll also want to make sure that you are comfortable with the type of analysis that you'll have to run for your experiment and why. And something that may be new by nature of the memory tasks that you guys have conducted is understanding how you will calculate accuracy. So aside from planning your analysis, one particular part of statistical analysis that I think may be a bit challenging, but once you get the hang of it, you should be fine, is thinking about how you are going to operationalize accuracy. The note that we have for you here is that accuracy can be defined as the proportion of words correctly recalled out of the total number of words for each of your conditions. What I mean by conditions is, let's say you had some words that were emotion words and you had some words that were neutral. What you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure you have some proportion of the words people were able to call correctly out of the words for, say, the emotion condition or all the words for the neutral condition, so on and so forth. So the thing you'll need to keep in mind is how you will be calculating the accuracy, whether you had a recall task or you had a recognition task, and how you're going to end up representing that in your spreadsheet such that you're able to do your analysis in R and compare things like performance between different groups, so on and so forth. As mentioned in previous tasks, you are welcome to do your data cleaning in R, or you can do it in Excel, Google Sheets, so on and so forth. We actually have a document here that was made by a previous LA that walks through some things you may want to keep in mind when you are cleaning your data, whether that's just deleting things, getting rid of NAs, whether that's dealing with things like changing values, so on and so forth. I also want to remind you all that there is this cheat sheet for how to do some data wrangling with dplyr, a package within the tidyverse, such that you may want to avail yourself to some of these functions if you need to do things like making new variables or summarizing your data or grouping data by certain values, so on and so forth. The rest of this assignment just includes things that you've done before, such as making sure you're comfortable with graphing your data, making sure you understand sort of what type of visualization will be appropriate in being able to evaluate your hypotheses, as well as writing up your results and writing up your discussion. That's all I have for you in this video. If you have any questions about any parts of this assignment, whether it's your memory task or maybe it's about writing up some of the APA sort of aspects of the paper, or if it's about thinking in how we're going to operationalize accuracy and include that in your data set, by all means, let me know in an email or during lab and we'll talk about it. All right, have fun and good luck.